Manual punch for character faces. Start by preparing image data for the character you want to create. Launch the layout and editing of the PE design next. From the Image tab in the Layout and Editing, select Open and then From File. We'll import a file we've prepared called Gorilla. Adjust the image density using the Modify Image feature on the Image tab. Set the density to 25% so that it's easy to see the shape of the digitizing. If you're using manual punch, starting with the parts of the design that have the largest portion helps keep the data relatively simple. With this image, we'll start with the black part of the head and then move to the skin tones. Configuring Region Sewing. Go to Region Tools under Line and Region on the Home tab. Select the Closed Curve tool. Turn Line Sewing off on the Attributes tab so that the settings only apply to region sewing. Select a thread color for the area you are creating. Set undersewing to On and density to 5.5 lines per millimeter. These settings can be adjusted as needed depending on the fabric you are going to sew. Region Sewing Part 1 Head. Click points along the outline of the head. Take care not to overlap points or cross any lines. Once you have outlined the region and return to your starting point, press Enter to finish your entry. You can adjust the points to improve the quality of your data. When the region sewing settings are applied, you're ready to move on to the next step. If the region sewing settings are not applied, you probably have overlapped points or crossed lines. Use the Point Edit tool to adjust the problematic portions. Region Sewing Part 2 Face, Ears, and Nostrils. Now we'll create the parts with the next largest portion. Using the Closed Curve tool again, create a curve along the outline in the same way you did for the head. Repeat for the right and left ears. Then create the nostrils. While you're doing this, you can temporarily turn region sewing for the head off, so that the template is easier to see. This makes it easier to digitize. Deleting overlap. After selecting Select Tool, hold down the Control key and select the region sewing areas for the head, face, ears, and nostrils. Click Remove Overlap on the Edit tab to delete overlapping portions. Changing sewing direction. Once you have created your region sewing data, you can change the sewing direction for each region. Use the Select tool to select the head. Customize the sewing direction under Sewing Attributes. Use the same procedure to change the sewing direction for other regions. If you make all regions have the same direction, those will make gaps form due to pattern shrinkage during sewing. Make sure to set adjacent regions to different directions from each other. Creating the eyes using the Shape tool. Select the Circle tool from the Rectangle, Circle, and Arc tool on the Home tab. Hold down the left button and drag to create a shape that matches the outline of the eyes. If you hold down the Shift key while you are dragging, you can create a perfect circle. Creating the remaining shapes using the Manual Punch tool. Select Curved Block under the Manual Punch tool on the Home tab. Click the tips of the eyebrows to create points. If you make a mistake when creating a point, right-click or press the backspace key to cancel the last point entered. You can also press the V key while you are entering the block or select the Running tool to choose a running stitch. Skilled use of the running stitch allows you to create data that reduces sewing time. If you use a running stitch, you can expertly adjust the direction of the block stitching. If you click the same point 4 times, you can create a block with a sharp pointed stitch. Use these hints to create the data for the mouth, nose, and ears. Changing sewing order. Let's change the sewing order so that the head region gets embroidered last. Checking data. Once you have finished creating the data, go to Solid View to make sure there are no gaps between the regions. It's important to use Solid View to check for gaps, since they can be difficult to see in Stitch View or Realistic View. If you see a gap between neighboring regions, use the Point Edit tool to edit the portion so that the regions slightly overlap each other. Adjust the degree of overlap based on the type of material you are embroidering. Gaps are more likely to appear in stretchable fabrics, so make sure to allow for a little extra overlap when working with those materials.